let's talk about the final things to do for Gold Star and Ramp, and then we'll close. And I know I'm over a little bit. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, so the last thing is this big step number 11, which is to complete Gold Star Ramp. A lot of this is just asking for documentation that you've already done things. So the first one that I want to talk about is creating lesson plans. And notice that these things are not due until June 15th. What we find is a lot of school counselors will get the year finished, and then they'll and then they'll work on this the first couple weeks into the summer, but whatever. Okay, so in creating lesson plans, you're going to click enter, and you're going to do these things. You can review your program activities if you want to think, okay, what do I need to create a lesson plan for? You could import from other schools. So let's say you wanted to do a career interest inventory. You could go to this tools. You could go to here, create career, do a search for some of those words, career interest, search, and here are 7 results, and you can see that here's a career interest inventory, here's a career interest inventory. So you can kind of use one that somebody else wrote and just import that into your school's plan. So also notice that some of these have already been imported. So that kind of gives you a sense of, if the school, how many schools felt that this was a well-written plan. So here's one, 4 schools, there's 20 schools implemented that. Here's one at 7 schools implemented. So if you like a school's plan, you can view the full plan, you can view their lesson plan report, or then just click import into my school's lesson plans. If you click that, it'll automatically import that entire lesson plan into your program, and it will give the initial author credit at the end of it. So if you want to do a lesson plan, you don't want to start from scratch on career interest inventory, you could just import one of these. Okay, so we've got that option of importing, and then you can enter a lesson plan that you create, and this is pretty simple. You just put in the title, the grade levels, who the targeted student group is, so it may be all students, or maybe this is something that you're doing specifically for Hispanic kids or whatever, the setting that this activity is going to happen with, and then the competency indicators. So if I click on this, these are all of the indicators from the new Indiana Guidance Indicators for Students that DOE just published. So look through here, you find the indicators and drop them in. So then a summary, how much time it's going to take, what the procedure is. So you're writing this as though, if you were to fall off the face of the earth and some other counselor had to pick up your lesson plan and run with it, you're writing a procedure for them, and then how you're going to evaluate that lesson. And then resources needed. You can upload resources, citations, and then any partners that would be needed to implement this. Then at the very bottom, after all that is filled out, this will become hot, and you click My Lesson Plan is Complete. And then if you want it to be part of our searchable database, you'd click I give ASA permission for people to search that, and then if you do give us permission, what kind of contact information you want to appear with that lesson, and then just save. So okay, that's lesson plans in a hurry. Okay, so that's lesson plans. And the rubric item on that is that there have to be 9 lesson plans, 3 academic, 3 that are primarily academic, 3 that are primarily career, and 3 that are primarily social emotional or personal social. Okay, then upload your school counseling council agendas. Just copy those pages, those 3 agendas into one PDF and upload that. Upload a job description. If you don't have a job description, here's a sample that's based on RSC model school. If you upload the individual counseling management agreements, this is an ASCA thing. You can download the agreement here. One needs to be filled out for every counselor, and then upload that. Assurances statement, that's just something that there was no way to document these things, like you're assuring that you follow the ASCA ethical standards and stuff like that. Download that document, sign it, get it uploaded. Upload a program brochure. If you don't have one, this will give you a link to all kinds of brochures that you could search through and model yours after. Upload public relations. This would be something you've done to help advocate for your program. So it might be that you presented to your teachers, or that there was an article in the newspaper about you that you could just scan and upload. Professional development, professional association membership. You could upload a copy of your membership card. You could upload, a lot of schools will take a copy of the counselor magazine from ASCA that has the mailing label on the front of it. They'll just scan that in to prove that they're a member of ASCA. Upload professional development. Anything that you have from RSC, you could just upload to prove that you've done professional development. It's kind of a no-brainer if you're on this page, but we just need to have the documentation. Then narrative questions. These are ASCA questions. And I'm going to show you what we've done. When what you'll do is like the counselor role in crisis response. If you click this, you're going to get a leading question. Describe the role of your school counselor in crisis response. And you just write a few words here. We are not looking for books. We are just looking for something that shows that the counselor has a role in crisis response. So no books, one sentence is fine. And then some of them we have answered for you, like on philosophy, which is like your vision. If you click that, we've already put an answer in there for you. How was your vision statement developed? And we answer that. Why were the various components of your vision statement included? And then we answer that. So if you like our answer, just go with it. If you don't, take it out, put your own answer in there. But anytime we knew what the answer was, we put it in for you to edit. So, okay, so what I would suggest is that you take these and divvy them up among your counselors or among your steering team members, and everybody just does a few. Everybody answers a few of these. We just need to make sure that you've explained whatever the question says in each of those short answers. And short, don't write books. Okay, I mean, you can write a book if you want to, but there's no necessity to do that. Narrative questions. This is optional. You can publish your portfolio online. A lot of schools like to do that. You just hit this publish button. That's all you have to do. If you want to see other schools that have published their plans, and some of these have been have been up there for a while. I don't know how up to date they are, unless the schools have kept them up to date. But you can see that here's a URL that the school could link to from their school website that would give the school counseling programs, vision, program goals, priority goals, activities. It would open up the different reports. That's optional. You don't have to do that, but we figured since it was in there, we might as well create a website for you. Okay, and then present the school counseling program to your school board. We need to make sure you've done that. That does not have to be a face-to-face presentation, although it'd be great if it were. But you could, actually what you could do is you could publish your portfolio and then just send an email to your school board, tell them to, that it's up there for them to look at and ask them to respond with comments to you. So it could be done electronically rather than face-to-face, although it would be much better to do face-to-face. So that's it. And then finally, when you are all finished, you want to check to make sure that everything across from a submit button, so everything across from a submit button says meets criteria. And at that point, then you need to submit this that tells us, okay, I'm finished, I'm not making any other changes. We're going to be happy because we've already approved everything, but we just need you to tell us at this point in time, this is it, and we're not making any other changes. You can monitor a list of completers, so we'll be approving these as they come in, and then automatically when we approve these, Amanda Culhan at DOE will be notified, and you'll get an email from Amanda that explains about RAMP and when you'll get your award and all of that. Don't forget to email your PGP to us as an email attachment, the log for the PGP points, so that we can get you that certificate, and that's it. Okay, I am way over. I'm so sorry. Debbie, any questions?
Yes, I have questions.
Okay.
So Christina asks, if in July or August we find out that we need to revise our activity calendar, can we do that? Can we modify the dates?
Absolutely. So this is live always, that you can make edits anytime you want for even afterwards. So what we'll be saying to DOE is on this date, they met all the requirements for Gold Star, and that qualifies you. If after that you change anything and no longer meet the requirements, that's okay. We just know that on that point you did, and that's what the award's given on.
So just to add to that, when the system rolls over, what will that mean to them? Will they still have access?
Yeah, so your account to our online system has always been free and will continue to be free. So when our system rolls over, there's certain things that get archived, but nothing like goes away. It'll still be there until, for you to edit. So like on the minutes that you put in this year, that'll get archived, and then a new set of minutes will come up. And actually, when we roll it over, instead of having this tab, that's a good question. Instead of being on this tab where it says 2017 cohort, you'll now be in annual update school, and you can see how many tasks you have to do in second year for things the entire year. So, and you just do it at the end of the year. And then every 3 years, you'll come back and you'll be what we call a renewal school. And then every 3 years, you're renewing your Gold Star as a renewal school. But the nice thing when you renew is you're just revising what you created this year. So when you renew your vision statement, you'll go in and, or you renew your goals, you'll go in and you'll just update your goals. So it's basically updating.
Okay, and then Christina also asks, because a few of our participants today have been in a face-to-face and a webinar about GAC, and she says, I've heard you talk a lot about GAC and it sounds like a wonderful plan. If my school is not able to be a part in the GAC program, then what is your advice? Are we now on our own for 2 years or of RSC?
Yeah, that's again, I'm really glad you asked that, and I wish I had worked that into the slides. But so the support you'll have from us is, so this was your first year, 2017 cohort. Next year you'll have activities to do just in the spring, and so basically you'll conduct the survey, and then you'll meet with your advisory council. Actually, I don't think I scrolled down. Yeah, so you're going to conduct the survey next year. So we'll get you set up on that for that. We'll send you an email and say, okay, it's time to give the survey. You'll do that in the spring, and then you'll do this annual update in the summer, where you meet with your council. You'll say here's our updated data, and you'll kind of look at those priority goals and see, did you make movement? And then at that point, you'll decide, do we need to make any in-flight adjustments to the school counseling program that we designed? So next year, you'll do this annual update. The year after that, you'll also do the annual update. So just this survey, one meeting. And then the year after that, you'll come back into a full, looking at everything in your plan and really updating each part. So I like to think of it as you're 1 year on and then 2 years off. So for the rest of time, you'll be 2 years in annual update and then 1 year in renewal, and then 2 years in annual update and then 1 year in renewal. So you'll just jump back and forth between those two. So, and in the renewal, we do webinars just like we've done this year, except not in 5 months. We'll take the whole year. Good question.
Okay. And then Julie asks, if we do Guiding All Kids, will we still need to budget for curriculum development, etc., since you're providing that?
That's up to you. I talked to a district this week that actually had in their original grant application that they were going to buy curriculum from a source, And then when they saw that we were providing curriculum, they took that out of their budget, knowing that we were going to provide it. So I think it depends on whether or not you like our curriculum. I think that, our curriculum, of course, is going to go with the recommended student choices that we've given you this year, and it will go with all the survey items where we get our baseline data from and our follow-up data. So our curriculum should align well with your school counseling program that was developed in RSC. But that doesn't mean, there might be something that's a big hot topic locally that isn't, something that most schools look at, that where you'll want to develop curriculum, or you just may not like ours. I don't know. So we're going to, for the schools that get selected to be in GAC, when we meet with your grant writers, we'll suggest to them a dollar amount that we think you're going to, your folks will need locally to develop curriculum. So I don't have a real good answer for that. I think that when we make that recommendation, we're going to put in some funding for curriculum development, thinking that not everything we give you are you going to be 100% in love with. But I hope that you're in love with, a lot of what we give you. It'll be based on the same student choices that we've been talking about all year. So you know that there's probably going to be something about writing a 4-year high school course plan in 8th grade, and there's going to be things about, study skills and learning skills and that we do with students as we go. There'll be things about financial aid. I mean, just, there's the big things that the big concepts that counselors need to get across to kids and parents is what we'll drop in. So I don't know if that helped. You might want to ask a follow-up question if that really didn't answer your question. Okay.
Okay, for the
Another question?
Yep, for the Gold Star ramp items, if we know we have a change in staffing for next year, do we just have our current counselors do it?
That kind of touches on the can we make changes after we have this turned in. I'm assuming that since we were designing this program plan for next year, that if you knew that you were going to be down a counselor or up a counselor, that you kind of took that into consideration as you were developing this program. But I guess, eventually we want the program to be up to date online, so that it's actually guiding what you're doing next year. That calendar that spits out should kind of guide what you're doing. So I think it's probably your choice. You can go ahead and make those adjustments now online, if there's changes because of your staffing changes, or come back next year and do it next year, before we present all this to your council again next summer.
Okay, last question. Christina asks, my school wants to apply to Guiding All Kids. My district applied for the Lilly grant already. My school is the only one in the district that has gone through RSC this year. If my district gets the Lilly grant, I don't know how much money each building will get since we have 20 schools, because I don't know the amount. I don't know if I will have enough to cover GAC fees. What do you suggest?
So could you write back real quickly and verify that you've already, is it that you've already written, your district's already written the Lilly grant, or they've already submitted it? So let's just hear that, if you could just type that back in real quickly.
I don't see anything. Oh, here we go. They've already submitted it, Sue.
They've submitted it. Okay. So one of the things when I met with Lilly last week, that's a hard one. When I met with Lilly last week, they talked about how they were going to be very flexible with line items. So I guess my advice would be to talk with your whoever wrote the grant and ask them if there's any flexibility in the way that they've assigned dollars to the line items. And if there is, then you should be okay. You could just do a budget mod, after the funding comes in. The other thing is that so when I talk with principals, coming up with the 7,500, that sounds like I only had 56 cents per student, so that sounds like just an amazing amount of money to me. But I think that if you can sell your principal on this, that there are ways that principals can move around dollars from different areas into things that they really believe in. So, you might think about talking with your principal to see is there flexibility with other funding. Janet Page on our staff is a former principal. You might give Janet a call and ask, brainstorm with her what might be there. And then the other thing is that it doesn't have to be Lilly funding. Go to your community foundation. They're a big source. Or, if you've got 2 Fortune 500 companies in your county that are hiring graduates from your district, maybe go see if they'd each, contribute a few thousand. A few thousand to us sounds like a gold mine, but to a Fortune 500 company, that's a drop in the bucket. So. Yeah, and if you want to give me a call and just brainstorm this privately with me, I'd be happy to kind of talk about that with you. So I hate to turn away schools that want to do Guiding All Kids because I know it's going to be a benefit to your students. So I'd love to help you figure out a way to do this. So
that's it.
On the other hand, yeah, and don't forget too, those of you who are interested in Guiding All Kids, make sure you get those applications in ASAP. Again, if everything else is equal, we're going to need to, go at first come, first serve. So, yeah, and I realize that means that for some of you, you might need to have some very quick conversations with your people at your district. I'm available all day tomorrow, most of the day, maybe out late afternoon. If your district people want to give me a call, let's just open up that discussion. Okay, anything else, Debbie?
Nope, sorry, that's it.
Okay, so just let me close with, on behalf of Debbie and Janet and me, we think you guys are great. To get into this in a 5-month turnaround, we know that you guys have had to dig deep to get this work done, and that it involved a lot of probably nights and weekends and missed lunches and all of that. And I don't think that people really understand the dedication level of educators, but we do, and we fully understand what it took for you guys to get this done in 5 months so that you could use it for the Lilly planning phase. So we just think you guys are great, and if there's anything that we can do for you now or in the future, please don't hesitate to call upon us, because I think we're all here for the same reason, and that's to help kids, and if we can help you, that's what we want to do. So, okay, thank you everybody, and again, this webinar really went long, so I apologize. We'll put this up on the website, and if whatever you need us to do, you tell us, and we'll do it. So, okay, thanks everyone.